Okay, this is Evangelist Stell once again, reporting to you live through podcast, talking about session 3 of the communication series. And today's subject we're going to talk about is problems and problem solving. It's just as sure as you living here on this planet called Earth, you are going to encounter that word that I just said and that what we are about to expound upon, problems. Problems gonna come and problems go. That's just a word. That's just a word. It's just problems. It's just a word. And it's big. Problems are only big usually as we make them. We can either magnify problems or we can see problems at a small viewpoint. So our most difficult problems involve other people. Oh yeah, let me repeat that. Our most difficult problems involve other people. He said problems that touch us emotionally and our core beliefs and attitudes are particularly difficult to solve. See, somebody can give you a problem at hand can happen, but then if it ain't touching your attitudes or your beliefs, they're not really that hard to mess with. But when it comes against your attitude and your belief system, woo, because your beliefs, the definition of a belief are things that we hold to be true. They don't even have to be truth. I said it before, but because I want to put it in my belief system and make it truth, guess what? That's like my commandment inside of me. That'd be like my 11th commandment inside of me, because that's my belief system. That's my foundation. And just because I believe it, I can make that belief to be true. So next thing you know, it said we often solve problems on the spur of the moment and not see different solutions or not get the facts. That's where problems get out of hand. Get brainstorming, getting different solutions to come in there. First of all, let me give you, before we go off into this problem, let me give you the definition of what a problem is. Okay? A problem is, and I'll repeat it, it is an action, situation, or event that causes you difficulty. Let me repeat that. A problem is an action, situation, or event that causes you difficulty. Now, what I like about that definition is, what stands out about that definition is the 3-letter word you. Because other people might not have the same problem as I do, but I could try to push my problems off on somebody else. When the problem that I have is personal, I have to take my problems personal first. So when I get in there and look at it personally, then I don't try to push it off on somebody, and don't try to make my problem somebody else's, and nobody has the right to make their problem yours. Only you control the destiny of what you allow to come in and what you allow to come out. So let's talk about 5 different reasons for what a problem that can exhibit or add fuel to the fire to a problem. One is not getting your way. Not getting your way is a very hard thing to accept with some people. Not getting your way can equal up to a problem, because why? Some people like Burger King, they want it their way right now. And then reality come to the matter that, hey, this ain't Burger King and you cannot have it your way. So not getting your way can signify a substance for a problem. Number 2, not sure what is expected of you. Expectations, especially if I'm living on expectations from other people. Guess what? Expectations can bring problems, because expectation, the definition for the word expectation is hope. Hope and expectation are synonyms, and they go hand in hand. That's the definition of hope, is expectation. But then some people can have false expectations or put expectations way too high on you. And guess what? There's a problem. And guess what? When that problem come up in there, it can strain the relationship. Because why? Now we have a communication problem once again. We have a communication error. So now, what is expected? Not sure what is expected of you. Kind of like in the dark, not knowing where to go. Wanting to make a decision here, but then not knowing when to make it, or should I do, or am I doing the right thing? What is expected, not knowing what is expected of me can be a problem. You know, if a woman expects you to be a man, have expectations of you being a man, and you're not carrying out that expectation, like just the foundational work of being a man, that could be a problem. So expectations can attribute to being a problem. Number 3, conflict over how things should be done or what actions to take. You see a problem and popped up, and you got all this weighing on your mind. Should I bust them in the mouth? Should I go and talk to the individual? Should I just wait and be patient and wait things out? All of these tornadoes going on in your mind of what to do. And there's a conflict, internal conflict over how things should be done or what action to take. That could be a problem. So we see, and guess what? The problem, you might not have caused the problem. The problem may have entered into your life or entered into your psyche. But still, guess what? You're still going to have to know how to maturely handle that situation and not do it immaturely and mess around and get other people hurt. So I try to be problem solving or not problematic, but problem solving within myself. Guess what? I could be the reason why if somebody come and gossip to me about somebody, guess what? When it hits me, that's where it dies. And that can save a whole lot of feelings getting hurt, save a whole lot of things, unnecessary negativity that can happen. Because guess what? I might as well solve that problem because more coming. As long as there's breath in this body, problems are coming. In the book of Job, it says that man's days are but a few, but his days will be full of troubles. As the sparks fly upward, trouble's gonna come. Problems. So conflict over how things should be done and what actions to take. Remember, the actions that you take out of this, make sure with everything in you that it's not there to hurt somebody. That your words, that your deeds, and that your conduct is not there to hurt somebody, or you will add to the problem. Now, this ain't gonna make no sense for hell-raising folks that want to keep dust up in the air, that want to keep stuff started, that want to keep all kind of havoc going. Because then if they're not solution focused, this is going to be like talking Egyptian to them. But to the ones that want to make a change in this journey of change and realize that, you know what? Maybe I have been a lot of the problem the whole time and not just who I've been blaming. Let me just take that in for a second and see. Okay. Number 4 is a difference between your goals and the goals of others. Woo! Big problem. Let's say you want to be a faithful husband and you want to be a man of integrity and you got friends that you hang around that want you to be cheating, lying, stealing. Well, guess what? Those are 2 separate goals and they're going to conflict and bring about a problem somewhere in there. So what do I do then? I like my friends. I love my family members that love me, that even though they ain't doing, they might not be doing right, and I don't want to let them go. Sometimes you are going to have to separate yourself from a lot of people. People that mean you harm. They might not have started out meaning harm. Maybe when you was with them, you was at an immature state. But now you get to a point where now I need to grow up. And so as I grow up, guess what? There is a difference between your goal and the goals of others. And that's the problem right there, where other people is bringing others into your problem. Being solution focused, man, you're supposed to have people around that wants to be solution focused with you. So if there's a difference there, you're going to have to make a decision. And even though, check it out, you might be, the decision you make may come into a good solution. Remember I said in the last episode, it is all right to agree to disagree. We are going to disagree on some things. And some people are not mature enough to handle that. trying to win you over and win that. No. I got to understand that a problem is an action, a situation, or an event that causes me difficulty. So I need to be looking at how I take it. I need to look at how I react to the situation before I start putting Bubba and Chrissy and Leroy and Elroy off in there. I need to look at me. Because they're all the people that I'm looking to. They're not helping me out in it. And I'm not being solution focused. And I'm playing the blame game again. And number 5 is this here. Losing something important. Losing something important. Have you ever lost something important? How did that make you feel? It hits in your feelings area. What kind of thoughts do you get? As we were talking about the 4 parts of communication, what kind of thoughts do you get up in your head? And then what kind of feelings that come and attitudes come along with that? Remember, attitude, you don't have to say one word for people to recognize that you have an attitude or a nasty or a negative attitude. You don't have to. All you got to do, look, facial expressions, nonverbals will point all that out. Losing something important. Losing a job, losing a best friend, losing a relationship, losing things, losing your financial aid, almost got you feel like you're losing your mind. That can be a problem. So it can be a problem, but that's all right. Remember this here: problems come. And they're going to come. But the test of a problem is this here. It's trying to see and dig. The only way I can learn from this problem is dig and see how my solution-focused skills is going to get enhanced by the problem. Then the problem won't be so burdensome. Long as I'm saying that trouble don't last always and have positive things around me. Because I might as well get it out the way, because guess what? Like I said earlier, more problems are going to come. They had in one rap song, more money, more problems are going to come. And they either going to be stepping stones or they're going to be stumbling blocks. Now, as we get older, we should want to not walk into more stumbling blocks. We should not want to keep more stumbling blocks in our path. We should be able to be growing up to the point, as the Bible says, grow in grace, and be able to say, guess what? I am stepping over this problem. I might not be stepping it over real fast, but my goal and my striving and my purpose is to get over this problem. Now remember, this whole series is talking about you. It's not talking about what somebody else done to you or whatever. It's talking about you. Because reactions of a person or a wrong that done happened to you weigh just as much as what the other person done to you. Now, how do we know we got a problem? Sometimes we may feel it in our bodies. Our hearts might beat faster. We sweat, get indigestion. Emotionally, we might cry and get angry, feel anxious, depressed. Relationships, we avoid people. People avoid you. Because see, people don't want to, this world got enough problems in it. Just turn on the TV. And people don't want to be adding to their problem without no solution. Because they got enough problems of their own. So we might as well not burden them down with more. You know, people will want to avoid you if you're problematic all the time. People don't want to hang around people. And yeah, you might get the attitude, I don't care what nobody think about me. But guess what? Yes, you do. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't express that so much. About how people done you wrong. I don't care what people think about me. What other people that you thinking about when you said that probably wasn't thinking about you, but you was thinking about them. Food for thought. Feel comfortable with others or have conflict with others. I mean, you don't feel comfortable with others or have conflict with others. Conflicts come in with problems. Actions out of all this, arguing, not doing well at work, uneasy, know we have a problem, but not sure what to do, or what it is. Guess what? Our problems, you want to tell you where our problems start? It's not from the outside source. Our problems start and begin in our thinking. Our problems, let me repeat that. I said our problems begin in our thinking, in our psyche. Because it's how we interpret a situation, a circumstance, or an event, or an action, is what makes us to the point where it's bigger than what it is. Or we can look at that thing and say, you know what, it's not that big. Or it might seem that big, but I'm not going to look at it that way, because guess what? I don't have time for it to be draining my energy. So problems. So sometimes we listen to that word problems and we get scared. Oh Lord, here goes some more problems. No, guess what? You might as well embrace them. Quit running from them. Confront them. Confront them. Because they ain't going to go nowhere until you confront them and learn how to confront them better and better and better. Are you going to be perfect at it? No, but you're going to be perfecting yourself, which means you're maturing and be able to handle them better. So guess what? Our problems begin in our thinking. So now check this out. We're going to get, here goes some 6 steps to problem solving is what we're going to go into. There's 6 steps. 1 is, guess what? Define the problem. Define. Now, when I'm defining something, that means I am doing more in-depth study, not just labeling it, but I'm looking for a reason why I put that label on it. Define the problem. So how do I define a problem? Here we go. Glad you asked. Get all the facts. Study the problem. Have you been here before? Is it similar to the one you've had before? 9 times out of 10, it will correlate in that area. Ask who, what, when, where, or how. Guess what? A problem defined is a problem half solved. You might be asking, what does that mean? What does that mean when I say that? A problem defined is a problem half solved. There is no such thing as a half-solved problem. Just like, you know, I was raised up and my mom used to say, y'all go in there and clean up your rooms and clean up the house, clean up whatever. And she always say, don't half-ass do it, because if you half-ass do it, you're going to have to go in there and do it all over again. So I had to choose at a point. Do I want to do it all the way over again? No, I don't. So guess what? I can't half-ass do it. So that's it. A problem defined, that means I just define what the problem is half solved. I ain't got nowhere because I'm not at the solution stage of it. So there's a lot of people that can point out many problems can be pointed out. Oh, at the top of your head, you probably got a problem going on right now. But guess what? It ain't solved. It's just half solved if you define it, you know what it is. So yes, define the problem first. Number 2, set your goal or your target. What do you want? Set your goal or your target. Now this is kind of different way of going about doing this thing, because especially if you had, you know, like in my series that I taught before, anger management. Because some people are used to flying off at the handle of things, and they ain't used to taking time out to resculpture their mind, redefine the problem, to go into it strategically, to tear it down, but keep it as a weight on them and feel like that's their mandatory purpose, is to keep that weight on them, because it make them feel tough. It make them feel like they're doing something. It make them feel like that they're getting somewhere, when really they ain't getting nowhere. All they're doing is walking around with a big weight on them, and they're walking around with a big old chain and a weight on them, and everybody looking at them like they're crazy. Because why? Now the thing is so big that now everybody can see that you got a problem, and then the other person looking at you saying, man, if he could come to me, I could show him that problem is not that big. Woo! Set your goal or target. What do you want? What is it you don't like? What do you want the outcome to be? Sometimes the problems can get so deep and so intense, and even at a point you have to probably close your eyes and imagine a good outcome. Even in the Bible it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Do you see yourself coming out of this problem? Do you see your higher power helping you and strengthening your inner man to come up out of this thing with power? Do you see? Sometimes you got to close your eyes and imagine a good outcome. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not crazy because you have imaginations is there, is defined and it's there. So you might as well put good use to it. Imagine yourself overcoming. Imagine a good outcome. So because if you can see it, guess what? You can be able to receive it. So set your goal or target. What do you want? First of all, you want to be solution focused. Because it ain't no use in trying to use steps in the problem solving if you don't want to be solution focused. Solution focused. Not around hell raisers. I'm trying to tell you, influence is crazy. Even in the Bible in 1 Corinthians it says that be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good character. They corrupt good morals. So who you hang around will rub off on you. In fact, guess what? When you're hanging around somebody, it's two things that's happening. Either you're going to rub off on them or they're going to rub off on you. And that's why it's important that when you get married to somebody or choose somebody as your mate, you need to make sure that when y'all the rubbing off that's going to take place, yes, there's going to be a rubbing off of friction. Problems may come up, but guess what? If you choosing a mate that wants to be solution focused, now I'm talking about past charm school. Understand what I'm saying? Because every relationship starts out really good. Every relationship starts out with cookies and champagne and flowers and all that. Charming, but a lot of them don't end up that way. That's why they wind up divorced or they separated. So you want to try this individual or the people that you hang around, and you want to make sure that they have some stability and establishment. And when y'all do rub friction together, that hey, guess what? We are going to come to a positive outcome in this here. That is the type of people. Don't be influenced by people that's negative and don't want to change, because this series is about a journey of change. So now, number 3, look at different solutions or options. It said brainstorm and come up with every option you can think of. Brainstorm, write stuff down. What can you do to make it better? It's going to take some intense thinking in this thing right here. You understand? It said our problem begins in our thinking. Guess what? Then our solutions can begin also in our thinking. Especially if you have the mind of Christ. Woo! Because that's not a defeated mindset right there. That mindset is always about victory. And you should walk around with a victorious mindset that anything that comes to you, that them weapons are not going to prosper. I don't care how they got your feelings area happening. It will not prosper. Just because you were locked up don't mean that your mind is locked up. Ain't no use in being free and still a mental slave. Like what Christian rapper D1 said, being a mental slave. Because you're really not free. It said, and then also it says, just brainstorm. They don't have to be good solutions. When brainstorming, just good ideas. What action should I take? Get other people's ideas, solutions. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Get other people's input on it if you're not sure. What gets in the way of problem solving? What gets in the way of solving the problem? The obstacles. What is it? Is it me? Is it me? And then also you can pick out some solutions. You can rate them either good, fair, poor. And then out of that, you pick the best one of those and rate it. And the best thing about this here is that when you get ready to pick that solution out, make sure that the solution that you pick out has the focus of a win-win situation for everyone. Now, everybody might not be win-win focused, because see, guess what? When you do this, is about maturity. Understand what I'm saying? And sometimes you're dealing with people with low self-esteem. You're dealing with people who think that because they're educated, not getting on education, and because it's good to be educated. Knowledge is good. The Bible says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. But when you put education before God and you think your education is who you are, that is not who you are. Your education is what you do. You might be good at what you do, but that's not who you are. I know a lot of very good educated people that have committed suicide, very wealthy people that have a lot of monetary things but have low self-esteem. They ask questions about themselves all the time. When the whole world is saying they're great, inside they're depressed. And remember, depression is the way you feel about yourself. Nobody can be depressed for you. That is personal. A problem. That's what solution-focused people and solution-focused ideas come in hand. Because if I don't deal with this, guess what? I can lead into depression. It ain't nothing worse than being the enemy that feel bad about yourself. Because self-defeat, nobody else have to pull the trigger. Nobody have to say nothing. You are judge and jury in that. So now we want to pick a solution that's win-win for everyone. Now, number 4. Choose the solution. I chose it now. And guess what? Now I got to do what? Start action. Lights, camera, action. Now it's time to put this thing into action. See, even God in the Bible, he said to not just be hearers of the word, but doers also. So if you want this to redefine this problem and turn it into and be solution focused and enhance your problem solving skills, you are going to have to do something about it. You can't just be sitting on the back burner, because some of us have already, see, a lot of people don't understand this here, is that, do you understand that when you don't make a decision, there are people that have been sitting on a decision for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years, been sitting on a decision, and they think that they have not made their minds up, but they don't understand that all that time that they did make their mind up, because not making a decision about something is a decision. Let me repeat that. Being in the middle and not making a decision about something is a decision. So what kind of decisions are you sitting on or in the middle of? Saying, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to do it there. Is it your education? Is it being a better husband? Is it being a better father? Is it being a better wife? Is it being a better confidant? Is it being a better educated in some kind of area? Is it better at doing it? Is it better? And you still sitting on that and saying, I'm going to get it done one day. I just hadn't made a decision. Woo! Deception. You've already made a decision. What's the evidence? All the time that's being spent. And that being on your mind of making a step forward. And you didn't make it. So I choose a solution and start action. As you work the solution, different approaches or new ideas may come up. So that means that's why I was talking about in the first series about being an open responder. Was the second one. Being an open responder, being open, open to new ideas, open. You know what I'm saying? We were not meant to be put on this earth to handle this thing called life by ourselves. I know we want to get tough and put our face mask on and put all these different masks on and think that we do. But guess what? If you was meant to be here alone, you would have probably been born in a jail cell and doing it by yourself. But guess what? Now that you have to interact with people and you have to deal with communication, and you have to learn how to, before I deal with the communication out here, deal with the communication that's on the inside of me, see where my frequencies have been mixed up, see what stuff is up in there, and rewire this thing, reboot this thing, get a fresh new download about myself, about life, and what I think about others. Bam, then I'm ready. Even in a computer, it ain't gonna get nowhere if the hard drive is crashed. And some of us need communication skills because our hard drive has crashed. So it says, stop at times to see how the solution is working. Put the new ideas to work, but try to stay with the one you've chosen. If it's not working, start over. Be flexible. Be flexible. It's not a one-sided thing. And guess what? After I've done all of that there, now step 5 is this here. Study the outcome. Why do I got to study the outcome? Because why? Because I want to see what was the result. What was in my best interest at doing this? Did everyone gain? Yes. And let me help you out with this here. When you're going through this series in life, it's not about everybody dictating you and putting you in a box, but it is about you seeing caring for somebody else. Caring. And then sometimes you got to get away from people as a sign of caring, because if you know you're problematic and you hanging around in a situation and you hanging around in it and you don't have solution focused skills, or you woe out or burnt out, sometimes it's time to get away for a little bit. You can come back and regroup later, but you get away because you know that you're fixing to be toxic to the whole situation. It's not cowering down. It's not being a coward. It's not being a punk. It's not being less than. It's being smarter than. When you get older, it's about being smarter. You're going to lose your muscle when you get older. Don't worry about that. You're going to lose your physique and all that stuff when you get older. A lot of that stuff is just natural gravity, the way we're made. But the thing, guess what? You can always be smarter. And you can always learn from your mistakes. Could you have done something differently? What will you do next time? Problem solving is a spiral. You never end up where you started. New problems come from solving the old ones. New problems are going to come. Even that's why you have to try your best to solve these problems, because guess what? Another one is coming right around the corner. And that's when it builds up and stress start happening. And so number 6 is this. And you should always remember this. New understandings is what you're going to get out of all of this. And guess what? New problems are going to occur. But guess what? What's my outlook on it? Am I going to magnify the problem, or am I going to magnify the solution-focused mindset that I'm going to use to attack this problem? I will always be my worst enemy. I can put a face on for everybody else, but that face that I look at in the mirror when ain't nobody else around, that is the true me. And that is going to determine the voices that I'm saying to myself while I'm looking in that mirror. What kind of voices am I saying to myself? Am I saying I love myself from a humble humility heart? Or am I saying I love myself because of pride? What kind of voice tones? What kind of body gestures? What kind of nonverbals I'm looking at? Not that, and the voices that is speaking to me while I'm looking in the mirror. Check those out, because they mean a lot. They're telling you, there's signs that's telling you where your mindset is at right there. So let's steps to problem. 6 steps to problem solving. 1 was define the problem. Number 2, set your goal or target. Number 3, look at different solutions or options. Number 4, choose the solution and start action. Step 5, number 5, study the outcome. And number 6, new understandings, new problems. Okay. Now, to be solution focused in this thing, there are rules that I got to keep in mind. I got to be mindful or aware that I'm making a choice. Stop and think. Don't rush into solutions. Even in the simple choices of getting gas in a certain place can wind up in a problem. You understand what I'm saying? I remember one time when I was down there in Houston, I was needing some gas, and my friend told me, "Oh, don't go down there in Southwest on Fondren. You don't want to get there from that gas station over there. Go and get on I-10 and go further down." Because why? He knew that there was some problems that probably was going to occur up in there. So next thing you know, it says get information and brainstorm. You know, like you said, brainstorm about things. Details are important, y'all. It may take a few seconds, but guess what? Let me repeat that. Details are important. See, you can't detail now. Even when you detail in the car, you can't just go over and just when you detail in the car, you have to sit up there and intricately see where dirt and grime is at. That's why you paying more to get your car detailed than just going to a car wash and getting it washed. It's getting detailed, and guess what? Details are important because guess what? It may take a few seconds, but save you days or even years. How many of us could have saved some years or some days if we had just been patient and got some details instead of rushing and jumping into stuff? How much heartache and people's hearts who we done broke and people who done hurt and broke our hearts, all we had to do was get some details. Whoo, this is some good stuff. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited. This is some good stuff right here. And I know it's going to help you. Then it says look for an outcome. Sometimes looking for an outcome, it said you got to learn how to think outside the box, you know. Because you've been in a box of entrapment all this time, and now some of the solutions that I'm looking for are going to have to be outside the box. Maybe they will have to be outside my quote-unquote norm when I get it. You know, instead of Big Mama coming over there giving me ideas, maybe I need to go, maybe I got a solution that's going to come through a friend, or maybe a person at the store, maybe a person at the gas station. You know, God is a big God, and he can use anybody. He can use a drunk on the street to give you instructions about life, information that you'll never forget and impact you. That a PhD therapist don't even have. Think outside the box. To be solution focused, there are 3 things that you need to understand about this here. And we almost done. And you really need to listen to this right here. Because that's what this section is all about, being solution focused. Number 1, keep your thinking on the problem and not the person. That's where we mess up at. We start interchanging both of those people and saying the problem is the person. Yeah, they carry the problem, but no, it's almost like love the sinner, but not the sin. So keep your thinking on the problem and not the person. Very important. Number 2, know your needs and interests and those of the people involved. Don't feel pressure to take on their position, but don't argue about the positions people take. Woo! Let me repeat that again. Know your needs and interests of those of the people involved in the problem. Don't feel pressure to take on their position, but don't argue about the positions people take. Man, you ought to put it like this here. Man, you ought to know better by now. I mean, if I was in your shoes, I would have had it done right by now. You're arguing their position. You're getting off course. That's one thing I'm learning more and more about life is this here. I try my best not to use this phrase that's been used so many years. Man, they ought to know better. Because guess what? I have been so surprised, and that thing have failed me so many times to where I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna put no expectation, because what they should know better, I could be thinking that, but guess what? The reality at hand and what I'm looking at this problem is that, you know what? They don't know better. Let's just keep it at that. Let's look at the evidence and the fact that's right there instead of trying to add on and shaking my head. No, instead of saying, and then going, okay, they don't know better. Now, what do I contribute into this? How can I contribute as being a benefactor of being solution focused than part of the problem? Number 3, pick win-win solutions where all gain and not just you. Pick win-win solutions where all gain and not just you, because that's very selfish of you if you do it like that. And let me tell you something. This is going to work personally, and I know the other part, other people might not want to be solution focused. But guess what? You just do your best at what God has given you and what knowledge He's given you. That's all you can do. It's almost like forgiveness. Folks may want you forgive a person and they cuss you out and don't want to forgive you. Hey, your job is done. You done what you're supposed to do. Don't argue about the position other people take. If they want to stay in an area of unforgiveness, let them stay there. They ain't gonna do nothing but put more gray hairs on your head, or you wind up like me and ain't got no hairs on your head. So pick win-win solutions where all gain and not just you. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you was to rate yourself from 0 to 10 on your problem-solving skills, where you at right now, your problem-solving skills, what would you rate yourself? Honestly. Remember, an honest answer is a good answer. It don't have to be glamorous. An honest 0 is better than a fake 10 in my book. And everybody else's book too, because everybody tired of fake folks and fake stuff. Everybody tired. They want real. What would you rate yourself? And then where would you see yourself 5 years from now? How many points do you see more after that? Even if you started at 0. 5 years, I see myself at a 6. Remember, it's about moving forward and progressing. So, this concludes this telecast or this podcast of dealing with problems, knowing what a problem is, and helping out your skills in problem solving. I hope that this helped you out, and I pray that it be a blessing to whoever hears it. That it blesses you and it makes you look deep within and know that, guess what? You are always bigger than the problem. You can always focus more on you, and you don't have to magnify the problem. Put it like that. That you can always overcome a problem, and to show you how, and steps to show you how not to magnify problems, but magnify the solution. So, be blessed, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.